Coming up on this episode of the Designers of Change podcast.
There are some things in life. The cost of winning is so great, it is better to walk away from. And in some contexts like this, manage your emotion. You probably go out there and try to win a battle with someone and you create more damage.
Absolutely. You may be going toe to toe with your boss thinking that, listen, I need to prove that I'm right, and you'd be without a job. If you know that this battle is not worth showing up to, I am going to lose more than I gain.
That's true.
Then I will know that I should not be engaging with this person. Welcome to the Designers of Change podcast, episode 19. And we have an exciting lineup for you, exciting discussion as we talk about dealing with difficult people. So last episode, we spoke about how to grow through difficult times. Now we want to talk about how do you deal with the people who are just downright difficult. Thankfully, none of our partners and sponsors are. We are so grateful to have them on board with us. Jason Myrie Media, Superlative Auto, Mind Food International, Grace Creates, Amanda's Kitchen, Vibrant Creative Studio, Caribbean Gospel TV, and MAAD 97.5 FM all the way in Guyana. What an exciting discussion we have to do right now about difficult people. I'm sure many examples come to mind.
All of us have dealt with difficult people before, especially those in the workplace. Probably you have some in your family. For those who are listening to us right now,
what
or watching us.
What kind of shade is that?
I mean, you can't run from difficult people. They are everywhere, and you have difficult people that the moment you step into the workplace,
Right.
Others palpitate. You can't get through to them. They are miserable. They are explosive.
Yes.
You see them on the road. And so this is I'm looking forward to this episode.
Yes.
Because you want to, how do you navigate this part of life? Because you will have to navigate this part of life, dealing with those challenge. And the thing is that you need great relationship to be successful in life. So how do we deal with those people?
Those are some good pointers right there. Even before we start talking, I mean, just this week, I remember I was sharing with someone about, a boss I had. And, I recall one morning bawling my eyes out while at work. I had to find a little corner to cry because of something that my then manager had said to me. And it broke my heart. I know people say, oh, when you're at work, it's work and it's not personal. Well, that broke my heart. And many of the comments that person would have said to me that made me feel so low. And I kept those moments with me, especially as a HR professional. I said, you know what? I don't want people to feel like that working with me. Mind you, we're not perfect. But if we can recall those situations where we've had to deal with some people who were just, oh my gosh, they were rash, they were rude, they were this, they were that. None of us want to have to deal with that. And so I pretty much vowed that I wouldn't deal with any mentee like that because it hurts.
Yeah. You know what also, I don't know if it's a truth, but I realize that some of the most difficult people you can find, or they become difficult, is because they are dealing with their own internal battles.
Yes.
I remember many years, this was about 2008, thereabout. At the time I was taking the public transportation. And so when I went on the bus, this gentleman, he had an outburst. One of the guy, he was coming from school, and he stepped on the gentleman shoes. And he threw a tantrum. He was loud. And then after the fit about 15 minutes, he broke down. And he said he was just coming from the hospital and his mother died.
Wow.
And at that time, everybody sympathized with him because everyone was wondering why would
he be behaving like that? Something so small.
And it turned into sympathy for him because we realized that the reason why he was carrying on is because he was hurt. I'm not sure if it's for everyone who become difficult, but sometimes those people who become difficult is because they have some internal challenge that they are facing and they can't deal with. So they project it outward on other people. And so we have done number of training where a department, few people in that department may speak to a leader, or if it's in your family, few person may have even a good relationship with that individual because that individual, they are nasty, they are bitter, they are rude. And so when a person takes on that attitude, they become a repellent to other people, and it's very difficult to deal with those people, to have a relationship with those people.
Wow, you know, as you say those words, it makes you want to examine yourself. You want to evaluate yourself because sometimes you will find that almost all your relationships they seem like they're in turmoil. And I like to tell people, if you are everybody having problems, maybe you is the problem. If maybe you are the one who is causing the issues. However, you know, you mentioned the very first point, and we want to highlight that difficult people, you have to sympathize with them. Because they're going through something, they may not audibly express it, but it is noted. When you look at what makes them tick, what makes them go off so quickly, you give nobody any grace, you don't understand. Those things are actually they're what we call signposts that something deeper is wrong.
I think I can put it into perspective for you. Hurt people. And if I touch your finger and you pull it away, it's usually a sign that you have a cut on your finger. And so when we see other people, hurt people, we realize that it's not necessarily you, but something happening inside that person. Now, one of the way we deal with those people is that you can't change people.
You can't
change people.
You will die trying to.
So you can't change people. So the only person you can change is you.
Yes.
So how do we change ourselves to deal with those, like we say, unbearable people?
And I'm going to share something with you that I hope that you all take throughout the rest of your life. You do that by changing your responses. There are some arguments that you win by not showing up. One, two, not everything should be a trigger. You know, so you're at work, somebody says something really horrible, your boss makes an unnecessary comment to put you down, you feel slighted. Not everything requires a response. Because we know based on statistic that you know 80% of what happens to you is your responses. You know, it's the way you respond. You don't have to respond to some of the things.
But I like that. Some battles you win by not showing up. What about those persons that are earthworm? You know, Michelle Obama has a quote. They say, when they go low,
you go high.
You go high. But you have some people, when they go low, they go very lower. So how do you deal with those types of people that will go toe to toe They are the earthworm people. We see them in road rash, right?
Road rage.
Road rage, that road rash. We see them in road rage where somebody, bad driver person, and they both of them, they're in the middle of the road screaming.
Heated argument.
Heated. Sometimes they may pull gun. What
Oh,
about
my
those
word.
persons that cannot go high, that cannot walk away from petty battle? Or do they? Because these people, they're not going to deal with they're not going to take that advice.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's backtrack a little bit. So I did say you have to manage your responses,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's absolutely important, because if you know that this battle is not worth showing up to,
Yeah.
I am going to lose more than I gain.
That's true,
Then
yeah.
I will know that I should not be engaging with this person. If I
Yeah.
know that this person is always going to be back and forth in, then I must make a decision that I will not be saying anything further until the situation de-escalates. Now here's the next thing. We all have to practice mindfulness. So in the road rage incident, right, it's pretty much the same thing, managing your responses. In the road rage incident, nobody is saying that you shouldn't be upset. What we're saying is the next action that my emotion telling me to do, is it worth it? What will it solve? Because I may very well say I'm going to go after that person who bad drive me or bad drove me or did something, and I am going to stop and be in a heated argument with them, and that person may very well pull a gun.
Yeah. I like that, because here's the thing. There are some battles that you may win, but you lose more
You lose more.
to win. It's like in Jamaica context. 2.5 million in Jamaica is how many US? It's like 20,000 US. It's as if a company owes you 20,000 US from 2010, and you are going to sue that company to recover that 20,000 US. No, you'd pay so much money to a lawyer to go after 20,000 US. It would be better for you to move on and get more business than to try to recover. So there are some battles, babes.
This is just an example,
This is
by
just
the
an
way.
example. There are some things in life. The cost of winning is so great, it is better to walk away from. And in some contexts like this, manage your emotion. You probably go out there and try to win a battle with someone, and you create more damage.
Absolutely.
In the process.
You may be going toe to toe with your boss, thinking that, listen, I need to prove that I'm right, and you'll be without a job.
Yes.
You're going to be hungry. You may be in a battle trying to prove to your lecturer that they're dumb, and you may fail the entire course, and then you're going to have to do it over. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And so when you're dealing with difficult people, you have to know when to back away. Now, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're going to play dead. You won't let your stance be known. What we're saying is communicate with respect first and foremost. Your intention is not to be back and forthing with the person. You're going to be mindful enough to say what you mean, and you end it there. All right, no retaliation, not trying to get even, but just know that you are bringing your point across, and you're not showing up to engage in a war that the other person has more to gain from it. So you have to be mindful. I actually stand by that Michelle Obama quote about when they go low, you go high. I have this stance. When you go low, I'm going nowhere, because I am not engaging with you, period. Right? Because I know that if I were to go say anything that I'm not supposed to, at the end of the day, I will lose more than you.
Yeah. So it's true, because if you to fight a pig, majority of the time you'll have to walla in the mud. So the pig will bring you to that level. Another thing to deal with difficult people, you have to speak with them with respect. If there's lack of respect, what you want to do is sometime to cut the communication. let's say a family member send you a very disrespectful message. Now, in that instant, you can reply with a disrespect, or you can reply by saying, hey, is like setting a boundary and say, you know what, I'm not going to reply to this message because this message is distasteful. And when you reply like that, or you don't reply, then majority of the time a person, they will get the message and say, hey, this is a boundary, I will not allow you to cross to cross certain line,
right?
And so when difficult people, because a lot of time with difficult people, they are very disrespectful, and so you have to know where to set a boundary. You have to be able to set a boundary. If there's no boundary, then you're in big problem. You're in big
I
problem.
really like where we're going with this conversation, but I want us to just take a break right here. When we get back, we're going to talk some more about boundary setting, because I find that depending on where you're brought up, where you're raised,
yes.
I mean, in our Caribbean culture, we don't know nothing about boundaries. Like, we get every line crossed. Like, it's so twisted, right? So when we come back, we're going to talk some more about boundary setting and some other tips on how to deal with difficult people. So stick and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Designers of Change. We are talking everything boundary setting, talking about how to deal with difficult people. And I think this is a topic that everybody can relate to. And that's why it's so exciting to be having this discussion. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsors who help us to make the Designers of Change possible. And so we want to thank J. Smyrie Media, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Grace Creates, Amanda's Kitchen, Caribbean Gospel TV, also Vibrant Creative Studio, and MAAD 97.5 FM all the way in Guyana. So, Mr. Wright, we actually went for a break right where you mentioned about boundary setting. And I love that point because, as I said, culturally, we Caribbean people, we don't understand boundary setting. That's right? True. We were brought up in communities where we eat at our next door neighbor's house, right? Or, you know, we share everything. Or it may be that also the next door neighbor's parents or the adults can discipline you who belongs to another home, because that's just how we were raised. However, as you get older, become wiser, you realize that there are some things that are actually crossing boundary lines, especially where dignity is concerned, being respected. And I want to just take the time to mention this, that, you know, it is someone's right for you to treat them with dignity, regardless of what happens. Do not make them feel any less than, worse than, or worthless. Treat them with respect regardless. Sometimes we have this sense or ear of superiority, not remembering that we're human beings and that what another man is going through, it is quite possible for you to get to that level as well. And so those are some boundary lines that should not be crossed, whether it's your relative, whether it's your friends. You know, always bear in mind that you have to enforce those boundaries. If you don't enforce them, they will be crossed. When you get a disrespectful message, when you get someone shouting at you on the job, right? I hear those stories a lot. Somebody shouting at you on the job, you're in the bathroom crying because, you know, your boss spoke to you in such an unkind manner. You're so surprised, you didn't know what to say in that moment. And you ended up just going to the restroom to take a breather, broke down crying. Take it from me, Natasha. I want you to take this from me. Even after having that crying session in the bathroom, your next move should be having a discussion with your manager, letting them know that they have crossed a boundary line, that you do not appreciate the way you were spoken to, because you are in a professional setting. Yes, you're in a professional setting, and so there is at least a mutual level of respect that should be shared. Now, if you get fired for this, you probably don't need to be in that environment anyway. I'm just telling you, because the truth is, if you allow this to happen, it will continue to happen and worse will happen. So you have to make sure that you set up these boundary lines. Even with friends, family, you decide how you want to be treated. Not every message should be responded to. I'm all about that. Not every message should be responded to, and you definitely don't have to respond to certain tones. Do not allow people to bully you through life. I tell this to my daughter, and so I'll tell it to anyone. It doesn't matter what you're going through, what season you are in. You are a human being. You are valuable. And you're important, just like everybody else. Yes, Mr. That was my PSA.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, there are some people, they don't understand boundary.
Yes.
And you will have to enforce it to make them know this is a boundary line. We're not going to cross this line, and so that you can protect yourself.
Absolutely.
And we protect ourselves. Another thing with dealing with difficult people as well is that you are not going to treat another human being better than how you treat yourself. And when we become difficult and we probably look down on other people, we curse other people, we have this obnoxious behavior. Usually it's because of how we see ourselves as well. And so we project it on others in an attempt to destroy them.
Can I say something really quickly? I had a friend who reached out to me a few days ago, and she was pretty much just reiterating a little spat that happened between her and another friend. And the things that the friend repeated were so distasteful, was pretty much lashing out against her family, downplaying her career, right? Saying very mean and awful things. Let me just say this. Although you have people who are difficult, this goes across the board. Out of the abundance of the heart, the man speaks. I am one of those persons. If we are associates, we're friends, I don't care, relatives, and we have a little disagreement and you say the meanest things on earth, in my mind, you always had those intentions or those thoughts against me. I will never take those as jokes. And so you have to be wise. Be wise. Use those things as pointers, as clues. And oftentimes, it comes out so many times. And I'm being transparent here. Sometimes there may be a simple disagreement between myself and somebody else, and you hear them say, oh, because you have this large following, you think that you're better than me. And I'm thinking to myself, what does a pizza have to do with social media following? What does that have to do with anything? It's insecurity. It's jealousy. I'm not afraid to call it. You just mentioned my entire degree because we are talking about pizza. It has absolutely nothing to do with my schooling. Right? And you have to take these clues as to what people are thinking towards you, and you use that to guard yourself. Right? Go ahead.
Another thing with dealing with difficult people, you can't be the victim. If they have said something to you that is out of line, that hurt you, you will have to speak up.
Yes.
Because sometimes people will say something and they don't know that it was offensive to you. So once you make that clear to them, if they continue to violate that, then you will probably have to move on. But in those circumstances, in dealing with difficult people, you can't be a victim. Because if you continue to be a victim, then it's going to perpetuate.
It's going to continue.
Yes, because what you don't confront
You condone.
What you condone, and it will continue to happen. So in dealing with difficult people, you have to change yourself.
And that's why
They're
I
not going to
say,
change.
that's why I say, if things are happening to you on the job, you cannot not say anything.
Yeah, you can't.
When you don't say anything, that's
continue.
when it will continue.
Yeah.
Even if it has to do with sexual harassment. We're in a in the Caribbean region. We're raised differently. I mean, men holler, hoot, everything on the road. I mean, certain countries that cannot happen. That's straight up sexual harassment. However, in our neck of the woods, that's the norm, right? But on the job, if people are crossing the line, you don't feel safe, you don't feel secured, you need to say something. And no, you are not you're not a tattletale, you're not a snitch. You have to speak up when it comes to your safety and people crossing the line. Because if you don't, you're going to always be in that situation and worse will happen to you. And I'll say this final thing because I think I'm getting very passionate about this one.
Yeah.
The more you put up with, the more you are telling your children that it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I have a serious problem. I don't want my daughter coming to accept the foolishness that I have accepted. And so you have to make a stand and put your foot down at some point in time. Now, I'm not talking about forgiving people and moving on. I'm talking about having difficult people bully you.
Yeah.
It's not okay. All right. And sometimes you will have to make the decision. Do I want to exit this environment because it's too hostile and it's not safe anymore? Sometimes you will have to make that decision that this is no longer where I need to be. It's not serving me.
Yeah.
And so I have to go someplace else. Now, you mentioned that you cannot be a victim, and that is true. You cannot appear to be a victim because unfortunately difficult people actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
They enjoy when they feel like they're, oh, that one is soft.
Yeah.
I can just do whatever
soft.
I want with this person. They will continue to abuse you, right? But this is such a great topic. I think we'll revisit it some more with some actual strategies for persons who are in the workplace or otherwise. But the final point we want to make is that while we're dealing with difficult people, we have to examine ourselves.
Yeah.
There are many times in business, in whatever the case is, that I will have some of the harshest, painful criticisms, and I've had to sit with them and say, is this really true?
Yeah.
And it may take me some time, but that's a question that I always ask myself, right? Is this really true? Can I do better? Could I have done better? Could I have said it better? Could I have, made an adjustment? Because examining yourself may save the relationship.
I mean, if it's a case where they are giving you advice or to make adjustment in performance versus they are attacking you and devaluing your self-worth, who you are dealing, your self-worth of who you are, that's a different thing. But if it's a constructive criticism, then you can evaluate it and say, okay, this is a constructive criticism. I can make the adjustment to become a better person. But if the difficult individual is going to devalue you, your self-worth, your self-esteem, then that's a no-no. And so in terms of dealing with difficult person or difficult people, the only control you have is over yourself, or you react to it, your emotion. Will I become a victim? Choose a battle which I fight, establishing clear boundary, and you have others. But when dealing with difficult people, the only person you can control is you. But you can't be a victim. You can't be a victim. And I know there are a lot of persons in the workspace, they have become a victim. And here's the reason why they become a victim, babes. And it's very difficult to explain. When a person have their family to take care of, their mortgage or rent to pay, their car note, their kids to send to school, their spouse. Sometimes they may put up with a lot.
Yes.
Because they don't want to lose out on that. And so they may become a victim in that because of what they have to lose.
True.
But to balance that, you have to speak up. You have to confront it.
You have to speak up. What if you could have stopped the abuse by saying something?
But you have to speak up.
Speak
up in a diplomatic and a balanced and a respectful way to say, hey, I don't like the way you speak to me. I don't like the way you talk to me. And so that you can be a amicable resolution.
You know, I started out this discussion by mentioning a boss that I had that brought me to tears, drove me to tears. I remember having a difficult conversation with her because I realized that we did not see eye to eye. And we had that heart-to-heart session. And not that things turned around immediately. She eventually exited. And years later, I remember just getting a random message from this individual to say that they have been watching my journey and that they're incredibly proud of me. And so I wanted to share that as a sunset to our discussion, because understand that too, sometimes the most difficult people that you deal with will turn out to be one of your biggest supporters. Remember, I always tell you, change is inevitable. You never know. If you can manage that relationship, that person may turn out to open the biggest door for you ever, because it may be that they had pure intentions from the beginning, but because there were little personality glitches, you guys weren't seeing eye to eye. So, you know, I think this was a very fruitful discussion. If you are watching us on YouTube, you want to make sure that you're subscribed. If you're listening to us on the streaming platforms, head over to YouTube, subscribe nonetheless, look at our beautiful faces. Get familiar.
Caribbean Gospel TV.
Yes, get familiar with our names and go follow us on every platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are everywhere. Threads. We are everywhere on TikTok doing our thing. We love engaging with you. If you have met us from some far country, send us a DM so that we know that you're watching us from across the globe. So far we have some countries watching us: Philippines, China,
Singapore
streaming us. Oh my gosh, amazing. Some countries that are so far away, South Korea. It's amazing to see, but we are so grateful. And again, we want to thank our sponsors for partnering with us to make this possible. A special shout out to Jason Myrie Media, Superlative Auto, Mind Food International, also Amanda's Kitchen, Grace Creates, Vibrant Creative Studio, Caribbean Gospel TV, and MAAD 97.5 FM in Guyana. Also, if you need any corporate training, any kind of staff function that you think Mr. Wright and I could assist you with facilitating, reach out to us. We'll be happy to lead that experience for your team. Stick and stay, guys. We will be on our 20th episode when you join us next. Much blessings. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Designers of Change podcast. Join us on the next episode.